The total number of positive cases reported yesterday was 1,196. That is 16.9% of people newly tested, and the total number of cases now stands at 45,232. 416 of the cases were in Greater Glasgow and Clyde, 309 in Lanarkshire, 161 in Lothian and 104 in Ayrshire and Arran. The remaining cases were spread across 9 other health board areas. Only Shetland today has no reported cases. I can also confirm that 629 people are currently in hospital. That's an increase of 27 since yesterday. And 58 people are in intensive care. That is 6 more than yesterday. I'm also very sad to report that in the past 24 hours, 9 additional deaths were registered of patients who had first tested positive over the previous 28-day period. That means the total number of deaths under the daily measurement is now 2,594. And again, I want to send my deepest condolences to all those who have lost a loved one to this virus at any point during the pandemic, but obviously, of course, in particular, to those who have more recently been bereaved. Obviously, many schools will soon be returning from the October break, while others are just now preparing to start the half-term. But I wanted to take this opportunity today to say a very big and a very heartfelt thank you to teachers, to other school staff, to pupils and to parents across the country. I know that you have faced many challenges over the past few months. I also know that because of the restrictions, the October break will not be all that you might have hoped it would be. But we mustn't lose sight of what you have achieved during this first half term. It is down to your efforts and your ability to adapt in extremely difficult circumstances that schools have been able to return. As a result, the vast majority of pupils are now able to have the classroom and the wider school experience that was lost back in the spring. And I don't think we should underestimate that. It is a real achievement that young people have been able to have that normal schooling experience for the last number of weeks that they lost out on for much of this year. So that I think is something important and something positive in this difficult period for all of us to mark and reflect on. I also know that for football fans, and this weekend in particular, perhaps for Celtic and Rangers fans, that temptation might be even greater. Tomorrow, of course, sees the first of these Glasgow derbies to be played without fans in the stadium. Of course, it's also taking place at a time when we have additional restrictions on household visits and hospitality. So with that in mind, I want to underline a few key points ahead of the match, and I should say that both clubs and the SPFL are also emphasising these points to supporters, and I'm very grateful to them for that. The first thing to say is that you mustn't go round to somebody else's house to watch the match. None of us, not just football supporters, but none of us should be going into each other's homes at the moment unless it is for an essential purpose, such as childcare or looking after a vulnerable person. And I'm afraid, and I know that this statement is possibly a controversial one in Scotland, I readily acknowledge that. I'm afraid that watching football, no matter how essential I know it might feel to some, does not fall into that essential category. In addition, people should not be gathering outside or around the stadium. There will be nothing to see there, so there is no point at all in turning up. And finally, please don't travel in order to try to watch the match. I know there might be a temptation to try and get around local or national restrictions in this way, but it is really important that you don't do that. In general, right now, people in the Central Belt should be avoiding travel to other parts of Scotland, and all of us should be avoiding travelling to areas in England that have high infection levels. So please don't travel to other parts of Scotland or across the border just in an attempt to watch the match in a pub. It's really not worth the risk. Nobody likes the fact that these restrictions have to be in place, but they are vital to protecting all of us and keeping us safe. So please comply with restrictions. By doing that, you will be playing your part in helping us get the virus under control, and you will be helping hasten the day when we can all watch and enjoy the things we love doing, whether that's football or the many other things that we find ourselves not able to do normally right now.